If you are looking for a freehold condo in the east that has a reasonable entry price, Kassia might be the one for you. This is a new development on Flora Drive consisting of 276 units ranging from 1 bedroom to 4 bedroom flats with estimated TOP in November 2027 or earlier. We'll go through the pros and cons as well as do a virtual Showflat tour at the end. But before going into the details, I'm going to address the elephant in the room. So how close will this condo be to the Changi prison? Well, according to the Google map, it's more than 1 kilometer away and technically you can walk over in around 16 minutes. But to be fair, if you look at the area, there are a bunch of other condos and even terrace houses around the area. And Kassia is not the closest condo to the prison, so I think you don't have to worry about safety. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's talk about the pros and cons of this project. First, let's talk about pricing. The entry price to Kassia starts at 1,835 per square foot for a 3-bedder, and it is a freehold development. This is appealing because the average price for a new launch condo across Singapore is typically above $2,000 per square foot already for a 3-bedder, even though they have 99-year leasehold. I mean, granted Kassia's location is not the best, but I do find the entry price to be reasonable. You might think, well, if I buy a unit here, can the price still appreciate? Let's compare it with 3 nearby developments, the Jovel, Palm Isles, and Ferraria Park. These projects have a similar size and location to Kassia. The Jovel, completed in 2022, is a 99-year leasehold development located a short walk from Kassia. It comprises of 428 units. Palm Isles, a 99-year leasehold development completed in 2011, is 6 minutes away from Kassia and houses 429 units. Ferraria Park, a freehold development completed in 2010, is just a 3 minutes walk from the future site of Kassia and comprises of 475 units and was developed by the same developer as Kassia. According to the graph courtesy of Property Lim Brothers, Ferraria Park price grew around 31% over the past 5 years. Palm Isles grew around 24% and the Jovel grew around 21%. Looking at this data set, it shows that even in Ulu area, the price can still appreciate. Ferraria Park grew the strongest, most likely because it is a freehold condo just like Kassia. If we look at the site plan, we can see that the developers tried to fit in a reasonable amount of facilities. Other than the 50-meter lap pool, leisure pool, they will also have children's water play area. There are even 5 urban farming plots, a meditation deck, a Tai Chi deck, and a bunch of other things. But do note that there won't be any tennis court in this project. In fact, this is kind of a trend where newer developments don't put tennis courts, especially if they have limited space. Why? Well, because a tennis court takes a lot of space and the reality is the usage rate is usually kinda low. The next reassuring part is the developer's track record. Needless to say, CDL, Hong Leong, and TDID are familiar names to most Singaporeans. These are reputable companies with sound finances and are known for their design and workmanship. We rarely hear people complain about CDL projects. And when I saw the Showflat and the blueprint of the flats, I'd have to say that the developer's experience shines through. The design was thoughtful and practical. For example, the 1-bedder's bathroom was accessible both from the bedroom and the living room, making it easy if you have a guest. They don't have to go to your bedroom just to go to the toilet. Same goes with the 2-bedder, where one of the bathrooms has 2 doors. It even gets better as the 2-bedders have a dumbbell layout that creates a little bit more privacy. For the kitchen of 2-bedders and bigger sizes, it has a glass panel separating it from the living room so the kitchen is not dark. For the 4-bedders, all the bedrooms are connected to a bathroom because of the Jack and Jill setup, and the list goes on and on. But overall, the layout is quite good and functional. For families, there are several primary and secondary schools within the 2-kilometer range, although not that many. There is also a nearby Japanese primary school, so Kassia might be appealing for some expat families to rent. Another plus point that I might add is that the surrounding area of this development is already built. In fact, Kassia's land plot is like the only empty land left in the area, so you don't have to worry about construction noises from other projects nearby. This is different versus if you buy in an area that is still developing like Tengah or Bayshore area for example. But although the surrounding area is already developed, the road outside Kassia is just a small 2-lane road, so I think the road noise should not be that bad. Okay, now let's talk about the con. cons. First of all, there are no MRT stations nearby. Not now, not in the near future, because the SMRT's master plan doesn't state this either. In fact, it's probably closer to walk to Changi Prison Complex versus walking to an MRT station. You'll have to take a feeder bus, ride a bike, drive a car or something. Amenities are also scarce in the area. If you want to do grocery shopping, send your kids to enrichment classes, or just go to the mall, you would have to travel to Tampines Central area or to the Jewel. Another thing to note is that this development can be considered on the small to medium spectrum. As it only has 276 units, it will have a limited number of transacted units. The lack of historical transactions usually makes it harder for the price to appreciate, as it will be more difficult to convince buyers of its future potentials and also challenging in securing a high mortgage loan as well. Another point is that you might hear a lot of airplane noises. I mean, it is near Changi Airport, so that should not be a surprise. Another minor downside I can think of is that you can't expect any scenic view. The highest floor is level 8 due to the height restrictions. The surrounding areas are already developed and the plot itself is kinda tight. So, your view is basically going to be the next building. Your best bet would be if you buy a unit that is facing the pool if you don't want to see another block only. Now let's do a virtual tour of the apartment, starting with the 1 bedroom plus study first. As expected, you have a small kitchen right when you open the door. The study isn't actually an enclosed room, it's just a nook right off the main door. There is a small balcony right off the living room, which perhaps you will need to dry some clothes if you don't want to use the dryer, as there is no service yard. The bedroom size is okay, can fit a queen bed, but what is good is that the bathroom has 2 doors, so it is accessible from the bedroom and the living room. So it won't be awkward if your guest wants to use the toilet. Now let's look at the 2-bedroom flat. They put a glass paneling separating the kitchen and the living room, but there is no door. So I guess it won't prevent smell, but at least the water won't splash around when you are washing the dishes. There's also a balcony right off the living room. This is a dumbbell layout where you have 1 bedroom on one side and the other bedroom on the other side. Both bedrooms can fit a queen size bed. And what I like is that one of the bathrooms has 2 doors, so it is easy for guests to use. But at the same time, because both bedrooms have direct access to the bathroom, it feels like you have 2 master suites. Lastly, let's take a look at the 4-bedroom show flat. The kitchen also has a glass panel, but you can close the door on this one. At the back, there is a small toilet and bomb shelter that you can convert for the helper's room. The living room and balcony are obviously more spacious than the other flats we saw earlier. 2 bedrooms share a Jack and Jill bathroom, as it is accessible from both sides. For the 3rd bedroom, the bathroom is accessible from the bedroom and also from outside, making it suitable for guests. The master bedroom though, for some reason feels a bit small. Not sure whether it's just because of the color palette or something, but anyway, in the master bathroom, note that there is no bathtub. Usually 4-bedroom in other developments have bathtubs, but not this one. In summary, I think this project is a good deal if you love the east area and drive a car. I'm usually very brutal when a development is far from an MRT station, but because Kassia is a freehold condo and the entry price is also reasonable, in my opinion, that kind of makes up for the location. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye!